Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 38 of In My Mug on Monday the 3rd of August 2009. My name's Steve Layton and yeah, God, joining me again, thank you very much. Last week's great feedback, lots of the cards have come back, but I'd say around about a third of them are back. So if you haven't sent yours in, why not? Where is it? I want it. But thank you very much for some of the stuff. I'm not going to go through them now because I want to do that as a separate one. But please get those back to us as soon as you can, because I'd really like to do a follow-up and get those copy notes on there. What I am going to do though, and I'm going to start doing every week, is read some of the comments from In My Mug site, URL below. Leave a comment there. Fairly likely I'm going to read it out unless you're swearing at me or saying bad nasty things. But Mark Pierce left a comment on the last one saying, love the episode, Steve. It's nice to know that you appreciate your customers' feedback and also involve them in things that you do. Well, I do. I think I've always been very keen to get your guys' feedback. I'll be ordering a bag of Sidikalang tonight and also sending a suggestion for the name of your machine. I'll also give cupping a go. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Want people to be cupping, want people to be getting involved. So awesome. Hoodie, who is one of the subscribers, who thought his subscription had run out, thought it had run out, very cool video, like the ideas, but then he comes up later, he hadn't run out, he'd still got another couple of weeks to go, so he came back saying that he could taste the overripe rotting banana, kind of really weird, very unusual coffee, as I think we've all kind of really agreed on. And Malcolm Palmer, I know you watch these, Malcolm, so thank you very much. Pronunciation, not pronunciation. I can't even pronunciation. Malcolm pulled me up on my pronunciation, but he got first impression after grinding, he didn't like the smell of the coffee, seemed very earthy. Wife and I drank it as an espresso cappuccino and didn't like the taste following it. He agreed about the banana in the farmyard. You can imagine it appealing to people who love Monsoon Malabar, and me too. I think, you know, it is one of those very distinctive tastes. Didn't want to sound quite so negative, but couldn't find anything positive to say about it, which is cool. You know, listen, that's what In My Mug is about. It's about expanding your palate, experiencing different tastes, seeing different things. So that's very cool. And he also comes up with a name for the roaster. If you haven't already, I'm going to pop a URL below, and that will take you to the blog posting that I've done on the naming of the roaster. I think something like 60 odd different people now have put up a suggestion, so that is awesome. In a Gary Vaynerchuk style. Oh, missed. Okay, the mug that I'm going to talk about today, this was very kindly donated to me by Fleur, who is based in Australia, in Melbourne, I believe. Fleur is a really good friend, and we send some coffee out for her for use for sampling. She works with our importers out in Australia, and she came to see the setup last week and brought me that really nice mug along, so I thought, hey, let's stick that one on today. Right, while we're going, I'm just going to get these started. I'm just using the pour over method as we've seen before on these In My Mugs, nothing flash or fancy. The water is perhaps a little cooler than I might like because I boiled it just before we came on camera, but it'll still give us a good idea. So, coffee we're going to talk about today, we're actually talking about two coffees. We're talking about El Salvador Las Delicias Bourbon and El Salvador Las Delicias Pacamara. It's a farm that's based on the Santa Ana volcano, around about 1600, 1700 metres. Actually, on the way down from La Illusion, which is a coffee that I'm sure you will have seen or on the site, or I'll have mentioned at some point to you, which was the Cup of Excellence Award winner of 2008. It's actually on the road on the way down. I was in El Salvador coming down the side track and I saw this farm that we've bought before, and it was like, I think I've got a blurry picture of the sign somewhere in my collection. But yeah, it's a really cool place. Been in the Mendez family for around about 50 years, so it's got a little bit of history there, a little bit of kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, history, I guess, but you know, kind of been in the same family. I've been working very hard to produce great coffee, and the two varietals they produce are Bourbon and Pacamara. We're lucky enough to have both of them. and I thought it might be quite an interesting thing to try them side by side and just see what the differences in the taste are. So just going to show you a picture of the beans. This is the roast that's on the beans. Medium-ish, maybe edging towards medium dark, but you kind of, you know, a typical espresso roast. You can see the ones on the bottom are the Pacamara, and the ones on the top of the Bourbon. Pacamaras are much larger than the Bourbon, and that's just a very typical trait of the region. So snozzer in the bowl time. I'm going to start with the Pacamara. Okay. Getting a little bit of a green pea, which is again not something I really like in my coffee. Not giving me a great deal, which I'm hoping for more in the cup. Moving on to the Bourbon. That smells different. I mean, there's a very different aroma. That smells sweet, but not chocolate sweetness. A sweetness. That's what I'm going to do. Right. They've brewed through. So I'm going to start with the Pacamara. I'm going to try and not spill it all over myself. Okay, on the Pacamara, get a real lemony, limey, zesty, lemon zest big time on that front end. An enjoyable lemon zest too. Very refreshing. It's got a lime component in there, and almost like a 7-Up-y kind of lime. Very effervescent, very vibrant, bright. So much better than the aroma. And you know, I keep saying snozzer in the bowl is important, but it just goes to show that you don't always know what's going to come in the taste. It's got a little bit of a chocolate component, a little bit. Not pronounced. That brightness and that acidity really kicks in, and the aftertaste is that lime. You know, it's like sucking on a lime, and I like that in a filter. I like to taste fruit. I don't know whether this is so well. I actually do know that this isn't suited to espresso. I've kind of tried it in the espresso machine and was a little bit disappointed, but great filter coffee. I mean, really good filter coffee. Should try that together. Right, going on to the Bourbon. Now, on the aroma of the actual cup, it smells different. It does smell different, which is weird. Okay, you know, I know these coffees. I've been through these coffees before. This is a great espresso blend component. It has a huge sweetness. I mean, that chocolate that's kind of suppressed under there with the acidity jumps to the fore in the Bourbon. I mean, big time jumps to the fore. Much sweeter, much more kind of like body, much more kind of texture, much more and unusual. Pacamaras tend to be a bit more, why am I doing all this in my hands? But Pacamaras tend to be a little bit more kind of bigger and bolder, and it's the opposite. That Bourbon is much sweeter, much more. I really want to play with this in espresso blending a lot, because I think it's got a lot of promise. I love El Salvador coffees anyway. For me, El Salvador really doesn't get the love it deserves. You know, not the same as a Guatemala or a Colombia or something along those lines. And I think El Salvador deserves much more respect. We're going to be having quite a few El Salvadors this year, and I'm dead excited about it. You know, I don't care if we have too many. I think that they are just stunning coffees, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy them. But that one, much more, much bolder, much more chocolate, and the chocolate just carries on. There's a tinsy-wincy bit of acidity there. There's a tinsy-wincy bit of that lemon-lime action going on, but it's much more kind of body and consistency. So, yes, roaster naming competition. Don't forget, want people to enter. Prize is a 3-month subscription for In My Mugs. So if you're watching these already and you're not subscribed, then, you know, a real thing. I know in the next couple of weeks some people's going to be up for subscription, for renewal of their subscription on the 3 months. So I want you to get those in. Please keep subscribing, because you guys make this far more enjoyable than just me thinking that you might buy it or might not buy it. Haven't done one for a while, so I'm going to do a coupon code below. Coupon code is going to give you £1 off the twin pack. So we're going to stick a special twin pack up. I want you to try them side by side, and I want you to experience what the difference a varietal can make in the cup. And just remember, guys, life's too short for bad coffee.